Hello everybody. I'm sorry it's been a while since I've done a video, and it's not because anything is wrong. It's just that I determined that the next video I would put out would be about the Shetland fleece and the Cheviot fleece and comparing the two after I had got them spun and plied into yarn. I thought that would be an interesting video, and I had been working on it and done the banana pudding and the trip and stuff. But it's taken me a long time because I did the Shetland fleece, and then with my brother's Cheviot fleece, in order to do the comparison, I have to spin 2 singles, and then I have to ply it, and I have to steam it. And I haven't been able to get finished with that because I've had so many irons in the fire, as they say. Too many things going on. So today I'm going to do it. Now, I'm not done spinning the single, but I'm getting there. I'm going to spin today, and I'm going to get it plied and get half of it plied so I can hold the two up and say, this is what this looks like and this is what this looks like, because they're both fascinating fleeces. And for those of you who like fiber and who like working with fleeces, I think you'll enjoy that. So I've been doing lots of footage, and we'll start in on all that, and I hope it's not confusing because some of the footage is a few weeks old or a couple weeks old at least, and I hope I can get it all organized. So we'll give that a shot today, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. And I have 2 bobbins of, this is the Shetland Black Welsh Mountain fleece that I got from the barnyard farm. And this is the stuff that I cleaned and scoured it and flicked it, and it's really come out a beautiful creamy color. I didn't comb it or put it through a hackle or anything. I really just I flicked it really well of VM, and then I just kind of spun it from the locks or cloud and tried to really leave some chunky texture in there. So this is turning out really fluffy. It's gorgeous, kind of golden white. Isn't that pretty? It is pretty chunky, and it's very difficult to ply because it's twice as thick as when I spun it, and so sometimes it's too thick to go through the orifice. But it is pretty. I'm really wondering how long it's going to be before I get myself a big Ashford Jumbo e-spinner that I can spin this kind of thing on easily. With this is a much bigger orifice than my antique wheel, but it's still not quite big enough. Here it is, fresh out of the steamer, looking so fluffy. Now I'm going to go thwack it and hang it. And then when I've got it into when it's dry and I've got it into a hank, we'll look at it and see what we think. Now, I really don't know why, but this is about the straightest hanging hank of yarn ever. There's not a bit of twist in that hank as it goes down. What I mean is it's not doing this business as it hangs, which is shocking because it wasn't easy to spin, and it wasn't easy to ply at all. I mean, I had to shove it in there. The tension was, I don't know why. They call this a balanced twist. I mean, a balanced yarn, because the plying and the spinning and the plying have created a yarn that falls straight, but I don't really know why. It shouldn't be that way because it wasn't my spinning that did it. That's for sure. And it doesn't smell very sheepy at all. It almost has no scent. It's very interesting. I'm very eager to see what my brother's fleece does when I clean it. I went and just grabbed a bag of it. It's very dense and heavy. It sticks together well. The feed sack with it in there is still in the trunk of the car, but I went and got some out of there. I'm going to pull off some. This is what I got at Dollar Tree here in the U.S. yesterday. This is a nice tall basket. I wish it were even bigger, twice that big. But it does have slots on the side and on the bottom. Dollar Tree, as far as I know, is the only store that you can get one that also has slots on the bottom. And then this little tub seems to go really well with it as an insert for putting the fleece into hot water. I also got this at the thrift store. It's a colander. Again, very open. And I got this bowl at Dollar Tree. I really wanted to have things designated only for fleece. So I'm just going to pull some of this off. I'm not going to try to keep it all according to its locks. I just really want to see how it cleans. Now, you can see this doesn't have much BM, doesn't have much dirt. It mostly has lanolin, and so I'm going to start with my Dawn dishwashing detergent from the very beginning to try to get the lanolin out. It'll also get the dirt out, but I'm going to do about 3 washes. I'm going to really put some in there. Put some in over here in my colander. I'm boiling a big pot of water on the stove to add hot water to it. It feels lovely. I really see people complain about lanolin, but I think it feels wonderful on the hands. And people complain about the smell of the fleece, that it smells all sheepy. I don't mind that smell either. I think it's kind of lovely. Okay, I probably used half of that bag. So I'll save the other half. Maybe do a second batch. Let's let that water boil. Okay, after just 1 wash and not even a rinse yet. That's how white it is. Okay, I did the first wash and rinse, and now I'm doing a second wash, and I'm going to leave it in there, those 2 tubs, to soak for about 15 minutes to really try to get all the lanolin out. And we'll have a good look at it. Okay, I let that soak, then I did a really good rinse. Now this is still wet. I want you to see how beautiful that is, and it's going to drip on my table. That's okay. I'm going to let it drain for a bit. I've been really careful not to let hot water pour on it or to agitate it in any way. I think I've prevented it from felting, which is nice. This was not, I didn't pick this at all. So I'm really pleased with how clean it was. All right, I'll let that drain, and then later on, we'll put it on the wire rack and let it dry overnight. So I have it on my drying screen, about equal parts in those 2 tubs that I did. It'll take overnight for this to dry, and I might be able to work on it sometime tomorrow or the next day. I would say that even though I know the staple length is shorter, this is going to spin beautifully, and I think it's softer. I think it's a good bit softer than that Shetland cross. Quite soft. I have to decide what kind of spin I want to do. I might not do a chunky spin with this. I might see if I can do a thin spin, not too thin, but just a 2-ply worsted. See if I can do that. It's really beautiful. And it washed well. Again, that's without any picking on my part. I took it straight out of the feed sack and put it into the wash. I'm quite pleased with that. A little bit of flicking and stuff. I might comb this. We'll see. We'll have to see what I want to do. This morning, it's so nice to be back home and in my studio, and I am working with my brother's fleece. I did ask about exactly what kind of breed this is, and it is primarily Cheviot. And my sister-in-law said, that's pretty much what it is, but there might be a little bit of Texel, which is an island, northern England, Scotland, I think, and a little bit of Cotswold. And the Cotswold sheep have these massively long locks, little curly things coming down. But of course, I'm not getting that in this. So mostly Cheviot, which is a good, 3-inch staple length, and it cleaned up beautifully. Let me show you after that cleaning what I got. Really nice. This is after also picking it, not to death, but a bit. I've still got some stuff in there. And then what I've decided to do is, instead of spinning from that cloud, which I could do, but it would be, chunky and have thicker bits, is I'm just carding it lightly, because I might end up knitting with this. And so I'm ending up with rolags that look more like this. They look like a little cloud. They don't look like a rolag. Let me get one of my other rolags from the merino I bought, and I'll show you the difference between these two. Okay, so here's a rolag, the merino, and I didn't card it in order to get those fibers to all go in the same direction like they do. They're just twirling around this, and the individual fibers are quite slim and straight, very different from the fibers here, which are very crinkly. And my attempt is not to get them to all go in one direction. I'm just going to let them feed into the orifice on the spinning wheel with some loft in there, some air. I think this will be a lovely, warm yarn, whatever I end up doing with it. These are long-term projects, and I don't even know yet what I'm going to make with these. The golden fleece, because it is chunkier, I might make a rug out of that. This Cheviot fleece I'm spinning it thinner, so I'm probably going to double ply it, and it'll be chunky, and I may knit something with that, or I could weave something with it too, which could be very pretty. We'll see. I'm thinking about weaving again. I just don't know what to weave. You can only have so many scarves and shawls and things like that, so we'll see. Anyway, so I'm having a lot of fun, and this is what it's looking like. I'm very pleased. Let me just turn. Oh, I wanted to, before I get off of here, I wanted to show you how I was doing this carding, because it's very different from the other carding. Some people use their cards to blend. Some people use their cards just to really to blend colors. And some people use carding just to get the merino or whatever into the rolag state. That's really all they're doing, is just putting it into a different shape. You can also use a drum carder for that. I'm using this to really open up the fibers in case there's any sections in here that are still a little dense. And the other thing that it does is it also removes that last little bit of VM really well. So let me show you what I'm doing. Okay, this is a real slapdash way of putting the fiber on here. You're not really concerned about trying to straighten it out, as I said. And I've seen other people use their carders like this, so this is not some unusual thing I'm doing. They usually do it with this kind of wool. And I'm just going to pull it off like this. I'm not going to do a whole lot of different passes. This is a smaller rolag. And I wouldn't mind getting some of these ones back on there. Now you can see some of those chunks. You need to pick those out. Those are probably second cuts, like that one right there. I'm still picking a bit. Okay, and then I'm going to lay this one on my leg, pull this one down, and try to get that fiber off of there. Go again if I need to. I can just pull it off by hand as well. And then flip this over. And pull it off. As I said, I'm just opening the fibers up. That's really all I need to do. At one point I was spinning this and I kind of forgot that I was making rolags, and I just started spinning from the cloud that's in that little basket, and I just forgot, and it worked okay too. It wasn't quite as thin as I'd like it to be. Now you can see there's still some VM in here, mostly big chunks at this point, and I'll pick that out too as I spin. I don't mind pausing and picking it out. Sometimes I can pick it out as I'm spinning, not even stop. I've been thinking about getting a drum carder. They're very expensive. I've been thinking about getting an e-spinner. And that is an idea. What I really need though, you can see this over here. This is the orifice on my spinning wheel. And one of my issues, especially when I'm plying, you know, which makes it double thickness because you've got two yarns going together, is this orifice is just not really big enough and things get stuck in there. Or if it's over twisted, it gets stuck in there. And Kromsky makes an orifice hoop, forget what they call it, that it inserts in there and comes out, and it's very big. It's good for all kinds of jumbo yarn. Of course, they also make jumbo bobbins, and they make jumbo flyers. All of those are expensive, but the little orifice attachment is not expensive. And I think I'm going to call today and see if I can order one of those. So I'm going to get on and make some of these little rolags to ease my spinning. This does make the spinning just a little bit easier. Tell you, this is very, I don't know, I call it sticky yarn. It's very crinkly and it really sticks to the Carter tines. So I have to kind of pull it out of there. So there you go. There's one more. I've got a bunch over there. I'm going to go back and spin some more. Isn't that nice? Well, I went out to get the mail and found this in there from the Woolery. Well, I discovered that Kromsky does sell this little extra thing you can get. Not very big, kind of expensive. And I could not get, it's called an orifice ring. It's a ring that you can insert into the orifice of your machine, and it serves as its own orifice, and it is a lot bigger. Yeah, it is a lot bigger. I was looking over there like, is it bigger? But they also sell it with 4 of these little slider hooks. Well, I've already got, this is what my wheel comes with, so I didn't need these. And I hated to pay for them, but there was no way. I even asked if people would sell me this orifice ring separately. Now this is going to slide straight onto the orifice, and then they send you a little hex, what do they call this thing? Yeah, they send one of these so that you can tighten it on. So we're going to do that right now. Okay. Now, I hope that that camera will stay where it's supposed to be. Now I'm assuming that I need to take this yarn out. This is more of my brother's Cheviot. And in order to hold that still, I'm going to put my feet on the treadle. Okay. This looks like the world's ugliest ring. No, it really does look like it's just going to fit right on there. Okay, let's see. Do I have instructions? All right, there's no instructions on how to put this on. Don't they know that? I guess that it, Okay, so I had to put the little hex wrench in there and loosen that little teeny screw or whatever it is that's in there. And I'll experiment with that, and then I'm going to tighten it back down. Okay, that was easy enough. All right, so you can see my whole finger can go through there. I should be able to do a lot bigger yarn with this now and be able to really do the kind of yarn I want to do for these rugs. I will say one thing for this Cheviot fleece from my brother is that after washing it well, I just pulled this out of the bag and I washed it in very hot water like I've showed you, and a couple times, and rinsed it well, but it is really clean. I haven't picked it at all yet, and I will a little bit, but there's just really there's not a lot of dirt left. The cleaning process is working really well. Even these little tips, when you flare them out, there's really not anything in there. It just has a little bit of VM, and I'm picking that out and kind of, I don't know, what do you call it when you spread the fleece out so thinly that the VM just drops out? That's kind of what I'm doing. Anyway, I'm very pleased with the cleanliness of this. It's almost, if I were doing a rug, I could spin it just like this. And that's pretty exciting. With the Cheviot, I am carding this, and I'm getting better at doing it. And it's a great time also to let some more of the VM drop out as you card. Of course, I can't easily videotape myself doing it because it takes both hands. But I just wanted you to see how different this is from the other. Before I get to the end of this second bobbin of the Cheviot, I thought I would share with you a little video of how this drawing and spinning is going. I'm just joining on another roll lag. Now you can see, I hope you can see, that this fiber is really crinkly. It's not like merino that you can really pull straight. And there are little neps in it. It wasn't shorn the intention of it being spun. Hope I'm keeping this in the frame for you to see. So I am kind of pulling it and extending it. I'm not trying to do a really thin yarn. You can see little pieces like that. Sometimes bigger ones, and you get a real wad. But I do try to see, there's a little one. Try to pull it as much as I can. The carding I did helped a lot. But I wanted you to be able to see what the fiber really looks like. It's very white, but the finished yarn, the finished single over there, is very creamy color. I wanted you to get a nice up close and personal look at this fiber. It also has little slightly discolored tips, which I love. These are not golden, these are more beigey. And for the most part, they are kind of separated out and you can't tell. But sometimes you get a little tip in there. Hope that this stayed in focus. I don't really know. All right, so now I'm at the end of the same day where this video started. And I've put all that stuff together. And I did finish plying those 2 bobbins of the Cheviot from my brother's farm. I have this much more again to do, but I got this first hank done and it's dry. I steamed it and thwacked it and dried it. That's generally my habit. And I want to show you what it looks like. Now I know this isn't that lovely, slim, very fine lace-like yarn. I don't really do that kind of yarn. It's not my thing. So this is what the Cheviot looks like. I think that is just beautiful. It's a lovely creamy white. Actually, I've got the shadow of the camera is because the window is behind the camera. Let's pause in just a second. Yeah, that gives it less shadow. Okay, so there's that. Now let's look at the Shetland. Now, this is only part of it. Now, this is much chunkier. See, at one point I thought that the Cheviot was softer. I don't know, they feel very much the same as far as softness. You see the golden quality to this as opposed to the cream quality of this. Both excellent spinning. I love how they hang together. Like I said, they're sticky yarns. Anyway, Shetland, Cheviot, what do you think? I think they're great, and I have so much of it to do. It's wonderful. I feel like a wealthy woman with 3 fleeces in my studio. Thanks for joining me. Let me know what you think about these. Bye-bye.